Stoicism has endured the test of time because it teaches us how we can cultivate calm within regardless of whatever chaos is happening outside of us. It provides us with perspective by helping us realize what is within our control and what isn't, and pushing us to only focus our energies on the things we can control. It taught that our life is brief and that while we are alive, our main goal is to focus on our character, that the most important thing is being a person of integrity and that everything else, like wealth and status, is secondary. The most renowned Stoic philosophers defined it simply as living in virtue or living in accordance to nature. I will link some of my favorite Stoic works in the description if you want a deeper dive, but for the rest of us, here are the Stoic principles that I come back to again and again. And make sure to stick around because the last one is the most important. Whenever you find your mind going off about something, ask yourself, is this something within your control? If you meditate on this question, you will realize how little you actually are able to control and how much energy you've been wasting on the things that you can't control. You can't control the external world, and you can't control the thoughts and emotions that come up out of your being, so why resist them? Why resist what is? Instead of trying to exert your energy to change what is, ask yourself why this event affects your energy, why a particular thought or emotion is occurring. Approach what arises within you with a sense of genuine curiosity and you will find strength. While you're in this state of self-inquiry, sometimes the present moment will ask you to take a particular action. If you are able to witness yourself in this way, you will be able to take action in accordance to your true nature as opposed to being manipulated by outside forces. Going along with the point above, remember that every day is a new life. A bad day doesn't have to mean a bad week. All previous actions, whether from the previous day or from 5 minutes ago, are now out of your control and thus are not worth lingering on. You can only focus on now. Constantly remind yourself of this truth. Keep in mind that whatever happened is not reality and you must focus on what you can do right now. You must live in the present moment. Success is just the culmination of all the small decisions you make and all the small wins you accumulate on a daily basis that eventually create the final product of success. We have a tendency to only look at the final result and to set big, lofty goals for ourselves without looking at what it takes to get there. We must encourage ourselves to focus on what actions are required from us right now. Take a look at the minor things you can add or take away on a daily basis that move you toward the bigger goal. For example, food is a great test of self-control and temperance. Every day you're presented with the opportunity to make small decisions regarding food that will either move you towards optimal health or away from it. Remember that you will die. You're here right now, and statistically speaking, that is quite a rare thing. Not only that, but you could also die tomorrow. In fact, you could die later today. Realize that people die every day doing some of the things that you did today already. Someone slipped in the shower, hit their head, and died. Someone died in a car wreck on the way to the grocery store. You did those things and lived, but they didn't. Meditate on this fact. When you are able to acknowledge your mortality, it makes you grateful for life itself and gives you a higher perspective by detaching you from what doesn't really matter. It helps you see life through a different light. Realize that the exact outcome of our actions is influenced by a multitude of different things and thus aren't within our control. To illustrate this, the Stoics spoke about an archer aiming at a distant target. The second the arrow leaves their bow, it is no longer in the archer's control and is at the mercy of the elements. If they miss, all they can do is reassess their strategy and try again. Stoics place success on whether you did everything in your power to ensure that you shot well, not whether you hit your target. Another example that might be more relevant. Want to lose weight? Start by asking yourself what is under your control and what isn't. What diet you choose to do, whether you exercise or not, what type of exercise you do, or doing self-reflection to work through where your food cravings come from are all levers you can pull. However, things like your genes, your environment to an extent, or your early developmental experiences are not under your control. So what should you focus on? Should you aim to look like a particular person or aim to do the best you can on a daily basis? Once you pick a course of action and follow it through with deep focus and discipline, you might reach your goal or you might not. If you don't blame yourself, you simply reassess the strategy and try again until you do reach your goal. Why do Stoics do things like cold showers, fasting, or sleeping on the floor? Because it gives them perspective. Doing those things remind you that things could be worse, that perhaps there are things we take for granted like a comfy bed or regular meals that we should be grateful for after all. It teaches them how to deal with discomfort and how to endure it without crumbling under pressure. And it shows them that most of their suffering comes from the resistance within themselves and not from what is actually happening. Just try a cold shower in the middle of winter and you'll see exactly what I mean. Before you jump in, you will come face to face with yourself. Your mind will come up with all sorts of excuses for why it shouldn't do it right now and how painful it's going to be. But if you just let the mind do its thing and push yourself to do it anyway, you will see that you suffered much more in your imagination than in reality. This is a very valuable insight. If you are able to consistently put yourself in uncomfortable situations and remain centered, you will be able to maintain a sense of inner calm in situations where everyone around you is losing their heads. Marcus Aurelius' meditations are just his thoughts and inner reflections, yet it has sold millions of copies and helped countless people gain perspective. This tool is something that is as beneficial now as it was almost 2,000 years ago. He would ask himself, what did I do well? What could I have done better? Where were my discipline and self-control tested? What did I do badly? Why did this occur and how can I improve? This is the practice that ties all other principles together. The quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your thoughts, and this practice is key for developing higher quality thoughts. You can review your day and ask yourself where you focused on things that weren't in your control, where you didn't put in your best effort, where you could practice non-attachment next time. Your head is a jumbled mess, but just the act of writing your thoughts down helps you make sense of them and takes away their power over you. It's much easier to see where you're lying to yourself when you see it written down. For this reason, I recommend a daily journaling and self-reflection practice above anything else. These strategies won't fix all your problems overnight, but you will notice positive changes in your internal state fairly quickly. You will be more resilient. The things that used to bother you won't affect you as much. You will have a serene way about you that other people pick up on, and you will notice yourself handling difficult situations with equanimity. Working on self-mastery and becoming a person of virtue is a lifelong pursuit, but it is a worthwhile pursuit, perhaps more worthwhile than anything else you will ever do. And luckily, the world will present you with infinite opportunities for growing in this regard. Thanks for watching.